People First Radio is a program about people, the society in which we live, and issues related to health and wellness.
Welcome to People First Radio. I'm Joe Pugh. At a time when New Year's resolutions might be driving people into new relationships with the gym, Zara Kazema was sharing a story of canceling her membership. The 30-year-old freelance journalist lives in Toronto. She wrote in a first-person story for the CBC that she spent a decade obsessed with the gym. After a change in her schedule threw off her routine, she found herself going less often, and then not at all, which led to a cycle of guilt. Eventually, last November, Kazema wrote what she called one of the hardest emails she sent last year, the one that would cancel her membership. I asked her what made it so difficult.
What made me send that email was, I think, a mix of burnout and guilt, and obviously just like with a sprinkle of little shame. I wasn't keeping up with my membership anymore, and I just kept telling myself like, hey, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back. But I go to a really expensive gym in downtown, and it was just adding up. And I'm a freelancer, so there isn't that much gap to take on like that much of expense, especially one that I don't benefit from anymore. I think I stopped going to the gym in like summer, like June, July. It was probably my last workout, and so it's been like around 6 months that I hadn't used it. And I think that's like around $700 plus just wasted on not going. But I just kept telling myself, no, it's okay. Like, this has happened before. I'll get back on the horse, like I'll just get back to normal. But it just wasn't working. So I had to send that email. And I've been a very active person for a long time. Like, I want to say at least like 14, 15 years since like high school. I really got into the gym, and it was a place where I really, it was a place where I had alone time, but I also just appreciated the ability that my body had. I even made friends, and anytime I would even travel, I would like hit the gym up at the local community or wherever it is. And it was a really great way to like spend time with my friends, spend time with myself, catch up on life, work, podcasts, but it just wasn't clicking in my life anymore.
What finally made you make that decision to sort of, at least temporarily, pull the plug, and how are you feeling about it since?
Honestly, it wasn't even me. I wasn't doing it. But my partner was like, yeah, like, this is it. Like, you need to send this email. Like, you can't just keep wasting money anymore. And he kept following up with me for like a few weeks. So I had to just sort of do it. And how do I feel now? Man, I don't know. Like, the guilt doesn't go away. I think after you sort of like built it into your routine, personality, and the people around you, like even on social media, like we just went through New Year's, everyone's like putting in resolutions to be more active and get into, I don't know, like F45 or calisthenics or whatever it's called. Like, and I just feel so much guilt. Like, I'm like, I should be doing that. Like, that should be me. Like, why am I not doing that? I don't know when the guilt goes away, honestly, but I know this is also not healthy. Like, I thought a lot about writing that piece for the CBC as well, because I never wanted to be the message that, hey, like, you should quit on yourself, or like, hey, you should quit on your health, because we're sitting like 8 to 10 hours a day. Like, we need to get up and be active. But the way that it's like sort of framed in our world, that like, hey, this becomes like half of your personality. And then especially in like cities like Toronto, like I look out the window and I see people running and it's like -15. And I'm just like, what are you guys doing? Where are you guys going? And now it's a cult and people are looking for partners. And yeah, it's just so much burnout. And I feel really bad about it, and I don't even like talking to people about it because I feel so guilty and I don't want to discourage anyone else from their health journey. I feel like I'll probably get back into it this year. Literally, I really hope like I can go back to it because I really do miss it, but I'm having a really hard time like going back to the same lifestyle. Like I can't spend 2 hours at the gym anymore. Like I used to spend 2 hours at the gym, like at least 4 to 5 times a week. And I would miss one day and I would go crazy. Like in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't go. Like there's so much guilt. And then I would try to police my food that day. And it just became really toxic and like a really horrible cycle. So I had to stop it.
So you're describing there that there's a real tension to the idea of taking a pause from going to the gym and not going to the gym, that there's a kind of a guilt you feel with that. But also back when you were going to the gym, you also, it sounds like, felt this kind of guilt and this kind of tension, and you felt like you had a weird relationship with it. What was that like while you were still going?
I think when I first started, like it was amazing. Like I thought it gave me so much confidence and it was really cool to see like how I was able to like push my boundaries and build a routine, and I loved all of those aspects. But I think as slowly like as time passed, I think especially with technology, that got a little toxic. Like I during the pandemic, I got like a smartwatch and it would record all of like my workouts and calories and the times I was standing up even. And then I think the Apple Watch also has a function where like you can compete with your friends and keep tabs on your friends as well about how they did. And I was like competing with like men who were like twice my height. But I am so competitive that I would go that hard. And obviously my body doesn't need to work out as much as that person's, but I want to win. So I was really putting myself in these like really weird situations and I wouldn't even win. And then I would get upset at myself. I'm like, why did I not win? Yeah. So I think that part got really, really toxic. But towards the end, it was like I wasn't going regularly. I would go like 2 times a week sometimes. Or my friends would ask to like go to the gym together and I would keep bailing. And it was also just a time of my life where I was really distracted by work. It was something that I was really trying to prioritize. I was working on a few projects that took so much of mental space uh, that I feel like I didn't have the capacity to focus on myself when I went to the gym. I know a lot of people say that this is like a really good time for you, like when you're working out or you're at the gym. It's a really good time for you to like not think about the weights of life that much and just focus on this one thing. But I wasn't able to do that anymore. And like I'd be running or I'd be lifting and I'd be thinking, oh my God, I need to send this email. Oh my God, I need to call my mom. Um, and then I would have like an idea. And then I was like, I don't want to be at the gym anymore. I need to be in front of my laptop so I can write it down. It was just really distracting. And then, so I like in that sense, like it was just, I was holding myself to a standard of like, oh my God, I need to like compete with my friends, close my rings on my Apple Watch, and then also like make sure I'm using this really expensive membership that I have. But then I'd also have to like weigh that against my personal goals and my career, my mental health. And just they just weren't meshing um at that time in my life.
There was this idea you wrote about that really it was relatable to me, and I think probably relatable to a lot of people, this idea of trying to optimize everything at once. And that sounds exactly like what you were just talking about there. And it sounded like from the piece you sort of came to this place where you were like accepting that you're not always going to be able to optimize everything at once. And I'm wondering if you could tell me about that process or that realization.
I don't think it's a easy realization to come to, because I think sometimes life sort of forces you to have it. For me, it was like my partner who was like, okay, well, you can't keep wasting your money. He still encourages me to like go on walks with him, or go work out with him. We were on vacation, and he was like, come to the gym with me, in the hotel. And that's what I really love about him. But like it's not like he was just like, oh, you shouldn't go to the gym anymore. It was just like he saw that I was really struggling with it. So he was like, okay, I think it's time for you to take a break. Um, and not like, I was already feeling guilty about not going. He didn't want me to feel more guilty about wasting my money too. But the realization of not doing everything at the same time is something that I'm still learning. This time it was about my health. Maybe I need to think about that with my career now. Like, I can't write every story, so I need to like chill a little bit and focus on one thing before I get to the other. Like, I'm in my 30s now, and I'm realizing like, oh my God, there's skincare to do, there's a hair care. I need to, drink more water, all that stuff. And I just don't think I could do everything at the same time. Like, I just don't have the capacity. And I feel so bad even saying this, that I'm just like, okay, those memes where there's like Venn diagrams that say you can have only two of these three things, and those three things are usually around like a healthy relationship, a good career, and a good health. You can't have everything at the same time. So, but I think we live in a society where when you're scrolling, you see people with all three things, and I'm just like, how we have two hands for a reason. I think in my body we have two of a lot of things, and I'm like, okay, well, I need to accept the fact that I can only do two things at once. So right now I'm sort of focused on my career and my relationship and health in a very like non working out type of way. Like, I'm still walking a lot. Like, I can't walk in Toronto too much right now because it's literally the armpit of winter, but I got a walking pad. So I'm trying to just take a couple thousand steps a day to make sure that my body is moving. I clean the house a lot, so I know like vacuuming and all that stuff is good for me. Um, Other than that, like, I've cut out like a lot of um sugary snacks and stuff. I think when I was working out, I would eat anything I wanted. Like, that was my gateway to, I'm like, okay, I'm working out so much, I can have the sugar, I can have the cake, I can have the salt, I can have whatever I wanted. And I like, or ramen or whatever, but now I'm a little bit more strict with my diet, so I can at least like, you know, keep my health in check in that sense. Health doesn't always have to look like you need to go to the gym, or you need to run X amount of miles, or you need to lift X amount of pounds. It can literally be like drinking water, because some of us are not even doing that, and that some of us is me. Like, I wasn't even doing that, so I'm just trying to keep up with like that part of my life to make that better. And then once I feel more comfortable with that, I can think about going back to the gym.
You're listening to People First Radio. My guest is Zara Kazema. She's a freelance journalist living in Toronto. In a first-person piece for the CBC, she shared the story of canceling her gym membership after months of not going, and all of the complicated feelings that came along with that decision. That's what we're talking about today. I think a really interesting layer to this that you talked about a little bit so far, and you also wrote about, was the idea that you got this smartwatch, this fitness tracker, with all of these new data points that it was giving you and access to kind of see what everyone else was doing. And it sounds like that had the opposite of the effect that one would hope for. And I'm wondering if you can just give me some perspective on like what What do you think that is doing society-wide? And are there like ways we should think about that or talk about that you feel like we're maybe not doing?
I actually really like I had a really good relationship with my Apple Watch. I loved wearing it. I don't even own any other watches. I just thought that I wanted this one for my birthday. My partner got me like a nice watch, and I would never wear it. And he's like, "You need to wear." I'm like, "No, but I want to wear my Apple Watch." I would literally wear my Apple Watch to weddings. Like I'm in a nice dress and I'm wearing this like clunky watch, and like I'd be on vacation and like the only time I took it off was like to go shower, even though you could shower with it. I had like a permanent tan line from like the past few years of just like always wearing this watch. But then I also read about how it can kind of give you like radiation and it's not really good for you, especially when you're sleeping. But I wanted to keep it on because I wanted to track everything. I wanted to win. If I'm out and I'm dancing, I'm recording it as a workout. Like if I'm on a quick like little coffee walk, I'm recording it, like every single thing I was recording it. We would go out for a cute little hike, I was recording it. I think that became too much. And I think everything in life needs to be done in a sort of like moderation. Like if you don't really have a problem, like if you are a healthy individual, um, on paper or slash with your doctor, you don't really need to track every single thing. I have some friends who like before they start to eat, they take a picture of their food and they go on their app and they write the macros and all of those things. And like AI will sort of help you fill it out as well. And I mean, if it works for you, good for you. But I think it makes you so vigilant. It makes you enjoy life a little bit less. Like it makes you less spontaneous. Honestly, in moderation. Like you don't need to sleep with it. You don't need to wear it to a wedding. You don't need to have it in your photos and things like that. I don't know. I'm still sort of like answering that question in my head a little bit as well. I don't wear my Apple Watch anymore. I just one day it died and just never charged it. Um, and my Apple Watch never died. Never dies. Even when I travel, anything, I always have my Apple Watch charger with me. It never dies. And this time it just died, and I was like, I can't charge it anymore. And it's just sitting in like a bucket on my desk. And I covered it with like a bunch of other stuff because I don't like to see it because it's really triggering for me. Um, so even when I do go back, I don't think I'm gonna wear the watch anymore.
Well, how have things changed for you since you stopped wearing it?
I don't have my tan anymore, which is nice. I think I sleep better as well because like sometimes like you have when you're sleeping, your Apple Watch, you need to sort of put it on like sleep mode so it doesn't glow every time there's a notification. So but even outside of like the working out aspect, I was like chronically online. Like I would get like a news notification and I would check my phone. I'd be talking to somebody and my hand would vibrate and like just like like a response, I just look down and that breaks concentration with the person you're speaking with. And like obviously they don't have to say it, but you can see it in their eyes. Like both of you guys look down and it's not good for like human connection by any means. Obviously you can set boundaries around that and you can turn it off, but I'm just like, oh, what if I get an email? Oh, what if I get a Slack message? I need to respond. And I think it's also a little bit about my lifestyle because like I am freelance, so like, and I work with people from across different time zones. So I really just had no boundaries at all. Like there was no balance of anything. And so in that sense, I feel like it's been better. Like I've been like I feel like I'm a little bit more in the moment. When I was on vacation last week, I went to the gym with my partner and we worked out for 15 minutes, literally 15 minutes, and we left. I was like, that's not enough time. But I think that's exactly what I needed. I didn't want to spend 2 hours there. Obviously, like I'm on vacation and not here to go to the gym. Um, but it sort of also just gave me like a little peace of mind that I can go back if I wanted to. Like there's something called muscle memory. It just took a little bit of like that animosity away. I think a lot of times, like, I'm also scared to go back to the gym because I'm like, it's been 6 months. I don't even know if I can lift that much. So I don't want to be shocked by my inability. But the human body is this wonderful thing and it remembers a lot. And I think if you go back and you ease into it, you'll get back to your regular routine or standards or personal goal or whatever it is. At least it gave me that assurance. Like, I'm still not going to the gym now. It's too cold for me to like walk to the gym right now. I keep giving myself all these excuses, but I know at least in my heart that like when I do decide to go back, I won't be like completely shocked, you know? And I think that makes me feel a little bit better.
I think at the core of it, one of the most compelling things about you sharing your story was, to me, it seems at least, that going to the gym is one of the ultimate kind of things a lot of people talk about in a very like casual way. It seems like a very routine part of a lot of people's lives, and they'll just casually mention, I'm going to the gym, etc., etc. And I think your story kind of really hit at everyone kind of has their own relationship to these things, like going to the gym, that are like a routine part of their lives. And that relationship can be very deep, and it can be very complicated, and it can be very personal. And it's one of those kinds of things that it's not always necessarily easy to talk about that complexity, or to like share what going to the gym or other kind of routine activities like that might be in someone's life. And I don't know, do you have any reflections on that whole idea?
Yeah, it's a very personal thing. Um, and I know all of us just sort of a lot of us, I guess, just go to the gym and like we love to throw in a little sentence like, I was just at the gym this morning and I met this person, like, oh, you want to meet for a coffee? Oh yeah, okay. I'll hit up the gym right after so you can come walk me there. Like, I don't know, it was just so normal to do that. But we don't know why people go to the gym, you know, like obviously there's a standard that people want to maybe look like. Okay, great. But for me, I don't think I was never chasing like a physical standard. I was sort of just going for my health. I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome when I was a teenager. So I, my doctor said that I really needed to be active. Like my weight couldn't fluctuate, or I would, I would be more prone to like cancer or some heart diseases and stuff like that. So I think that just really freaked me out. And I was like, oh my God, this is the Bible now. I have to go to the gym all the time um, to make sure that doesn't happen. But I think it was more about like being healthy, and you can be healthy in many different ways. That's not just going to the gym. And I think this like just like going to the gym, not everybody goes to the gym. Like a lot of people do exercise in other formats. Like you can go running, you can join a sports club, you can dance, you can do so many different things. But I think gym is like the easier form, like, or like the lazy form of all of that. Like we're not, we don't live like our ancestors did, where you had to like physically go grocery shopping, and not everybody had a car, so you had to walk to places. Like we have Instacart, like we don't even move from our, like you can find ways to be active in your actual life. You don't have to rely on technology for everything. You don't have to rely on technology to even count. Like I think it's so mind-bogglingly weird. Like I'm using this Apple Watch to count my steps and my calories. Meanwhile, I'm also using the Instacart app to order groceries. Like, why don't I just get up and go do something, you know? And I put all my like eggs of moving around just at the gym. So now I think it's a cool way for me now to like process like how else can I get movement in my day? Um, and that's been really fun as well. Like walking is like right now in the wintertime, walking is like the most I can do, but also like changing my relationship with food and like moving around more at home, getting this walking pad. Like there are different ways to be active. You don't need to necessarily, lift weights. Um, yeah, but all of that still comes with so much guilt. Because like we still like I'm still a human being. I still have social media. I still see my girlfriends and stuff like at the gym, and I want to be that too. Like, but it's just such a weird space because I just need to give my brain and my body a little bit of break um before I jump back into it. Because like I'm really scared. Like, what if I get back into it and it gets toxic again and I have to leave it? But then I have to tell myself like that's okay. If it happens again, it happens again.
This is People First Radio. I'm Joe Pugh. I'm speaking with Zara Kazema, a journalist who lives in Toronto. We're talking about her relationship with the gym and her decision to cancel her membership. It was the subject of a first-person piece appearing earlier this month on the CBC's website. You also talked about this idea that you had a lot of worries and concerns about when you stopped going for the first time or when you made some of these transitions. And then there were maybe some moments where you felt like the world didn't stop spinning. That happened. And a lot of the kind of concern was happening maybe in your head. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I thought I would lose a really big chunk of myself when I stopped going to the gym, and when I like, especially if I got rid of my membership, then that just means like, okay, well, now I don't go to the gym like at all. Like I'm not associated with any kind of gym anymore. So I really thought that that would take away part of like my personality. Um, but it didn't. This is the beautiful part about life is like when one thing goes away, something else will fill your time. Um, I've been really into like crafts and like painting lately. So a lot of my time I spend there, and I think that's like great brain exercise, great creative exercise as well for myself. If you lose one part of yourself, like we're expandable and we can fill that time in with something else, something that makes us happy as well. When I craft, I don't feel super judged. I don't feel like I need to leave my house, and I don't feel like I need to invest so much in it financially as well. I'm just junk journaling. So it's really fun and I can do it from my desk and I really look forward to it. I could do it between, work calls and things like that too. So it it makes me really excited about life the way the gym made me really excited about life at one point of my life as well. Um, yeah, the world did not stop turning. It just found a different way to fill my free space.
What made you take the decision to take this story and to write about it and to share it on a big platform like the CBC? What do you think there is in your story for other people to take away?
I think more than writing the story, it was about the timing that the story came out. It came out, I think, just right after New Year's. And that's what I pitched it for. I wanted it to come out now. I think it's a lot of times when we're setting goals for a new year, making our vision boards and things like that, it's always like, I need to go to the gym more. I need to go to the gym X times a week. And I think it's proven through like statistics as well. Like so many people sign up in January and then a few months later, like they're not going anymore. And a lot of times it fails. I think we set ourselves up for like an unrealistic goal and it doesn't work out and we beat ourselves up for it. And I just started with like, hey, the bar is so low. So whatever you're doing is better than this. And it's okay to fail. Like it's okay to fail. It's okay to back up. It's okay to focus on different things. It's okay to switch gears. And for me, writing is cathartic. So getting it down on a piece of paper or a Word doc was therapeutic in a way. It was a way for me to like process the emotion. When I pitched the story, I was like, oh, okay, great. Like, I'm gonna write it. And then it was really hard to write this one. Usually, like people think, oh, if you write first person, like it's a lot easier, especially as a journalist. You don't have to like contact too many other sources and things like that. But I've really come to learn like first person is so difficult, and you really have to put yourself on the line, like show yourself as an example, like dig really, really deep to make it happen. So yeah, for me that was therapeutic in a sense. Like it was also like, hey, like this is it. Like I don't need to fight with myself anymore. Like, hey, when am I going back? When am I going back? Like I would put it on my calendar and I would delete it, and I would put it on my calendar and I would delete it again, and then I would feel so bad for deleting the time gap that I put in for the gym section. So like now that I feel like everybody knows, like, oh yeah, I don't have to do this anymore. I don't have to do this little dance or this drama that like, hey, like I'm not going to the gym or I'm missing out or whatever.
So it's almost like sharing that story with a wider audience almost helps you be at peace with it yourself more.
Yeah, because I really don't know how people are going to perceive it. Like that's out of my control, but I know how I'm going to perceive it. And once it's out in the world, like it sets the tone for like my own reality as well. Like it's not just in my head anymore. And honestly, if you the response, I don't know if you want to get into that, but like I've gotten some really interesting response.
Yeah, that was my next question. What did you hear back from people? What's the response been? I mean, certainly, like I will frame that as, I read the article. I reached out to you because I thought the story was really compelling, and I think it touched on things that a lot of people are feeling, but it's difficult to find an avenue to express. What have you heard from others?
We'll start with the first one. There's always trolls. This person signed it with their whole name and number, but I'll just quote them. And they said, seems to be that the real problem here is your obvious obsession with yourself. I counted the use of I about 60 times, as well as the numerous my's. And then it keeps going on and on. And he's like, oh, your writing is boring, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's fine, whatever. You get trolls. But I'm like, okay, sir, you're reading the first person section of the paper. So I really don't know like what you wanted here. But other people have and strangely enough, it's been all men. Like I think the 10 or a handful of other emails that I got, comments that I got were about, hey, here's a routine you should try. Like, hey, um, here are my thoughts about your body. And hey, here's how you should work out instead. I just think it's really interesting that so many people have so much to say about how I should do exercise and physical activity. Like, I didn't ask you that. I think it says a lot about society in terms of like how men perceive women's bodies and how they feel they can comment on them and mansplain working out to me. And I I wasn't saying I'm working out wrong. I'm just saying I'm taking a break. Um, but people feel a really different type of way about it. Like, I'm like, I don't even know why you care. Um, I'm writing for the girlies. Like, I'm never writing for like a 40-year-old man or a 60-year-old man. Like, it's never been a priority for me. So I'm like, okay, I'm glad you read it. I'm glad it resonated a lot that you thought that you would sit down and you would write me like a 10 paragraph email. But it was just so like, yeah, it was just so interesting that like this standard of like commenting on women's bodies and like mansplaining things to women is it says a lot about our gym culture. I think it's a lot of times like women are so scared to go to the gym or feel a different type of way about going because they don't want to put themselves in that situation where there's like so many men and they're working like the amount of times I've been at the gym and strange men think that they can come up to me and they can tell me how to do something or whatever. Sometimes I think it's in good context, like, okay, obviously if I'm like hurting a certain muscle or whatever, I appreciate it, but it's also like the way that some people frame it, or they'll just be like, oh, you're doing this exercise, you should also do this exercise with it. Like, just do your own workout. I'm just trying to get home. Like, yeah, it happens a lot.
I have to let you go in just a couple of minutes. Is there anything else you think it's important to share about your story or to bring to the conversation today?
I think the last thing I just want to say is that your personal health is exactly that. It's personal. Um, Obviously, I shared my story, which is not really super personal anymore, is because now it's all of Canada's. But the things that you decide for how you want to be active, they're yours. Um, no one else. You don't owe anyone else anything. The world doesn't need to monitor you. Um, you don't have to justify your decisions to anyone else. Yeah, I think your pace is yours, and it's totally fine to take a break or fall off the wagon. You'll get back on it eventually. I think there's so much on our plates, in our news cycles, in our brains, that requires so much of our attention. So it's fine to not go on your run. It's fine to miss a gym evening. Yeah, I think that's sort of my message.
Zara Kazema is a freelance journalist living in Toronto. We were speaking about her relationship with the gym and her decision to cancel her membership. She shared that story in a first-person piece for the CBC. That piece is called, "I Spent Over a Decade Obsessed with the Gym. I Finally Let Myself Stop." You can find it on the CBC's website.
People First Radio, People First Media, and People First Stories are community media projects of Vancouver Island Mental Health Society and are produced in Nanaimo, British Columbia. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of Vancouver Island Mental Health Society or its broadcast, podcast, and social media partners.